Welcome to the Predictive Playbook. This is Manny's Irish Pub Sports Betting Show. I'm your host, as always, John Ryan. And I think we're set to go now. We had just a little bit of admin work to get done before starting the show, so sorry to make you wait for a few minutes here, but we'll get started right away. I can't hold back my enthusiasm. I was in a DraftKings PGA contest yesterday, and it was only the final round, but still, I placed second. And you may have watched yesterday's show, and I was a little bit quiet because I kept going like this, because that's where my two big monitors are. And I probably looked like I was looking at something very, very intense, and it was. And for the second time now, I did this once with David Behrman, and I were exchanging messages during, I think it was the Honda Classic, or one of them. We were both doing really well. And forgot that the overtime does not count. So the guy that was in first and the guy that was in third had Cam Smith. I had Tony Mejia, and as you may remember on the show, I actually put him out as a top 10 and top 20 best bet for our Manny's Pub show too. And I have to admit, I was surprised that he won. I don't think anybody really saw that coming. But the lineup that I had yesterday was optimal, and it's all this machine learning tools that I've been building for years and years. And they literally now, I can honestly say, if I showed you the progression over the last, say, 7 years, they are getting smarter and smarter and smarter, and identifying the real players to take. And, we're right around the corner for the DraftKings for the NFL, and that's my other co-favorite. So I do NFL and PGA, and I think it's probably time where I feel comfortable sharing the player pools that I develop, and then you can do what you want with them. You can create your own lineups. It'd be kind of ridiculous for me to give out my lineups and then you tail them, unless, of course, like yesterday. But those, if we work together as a group with those pools, I would be happy as hell if one of you guys out there in the chat room all of a sudden sent a message saying that, hey, I came in, top even if it was the top 1,000 in some of these, there's 300,000 entries, and even more in the NFL. And just a $20 entry thing can turn into, I don't know what that would be, a home run, Babe Ruth, all those homers combined. So just, really, really glad that things are coming together. The baseball obviously is doing very, very well now. Went through a rough spot there in June, but again, it turned the corner, and ever since it's never looked back. 42% ROI over the last 78 Major League Baseball best bets. I have 3 more going tonight, and I even reduced the price to $15 because I want to keep the betting gods and you happy that it gets cheaper and cheaper as we grow and grow and grow. And that's the advantage of doing that. So I am pleased to tell you that I have Nick Borman joining us. And as you may remember, hey, Nick, how's it going?
Hey, John. Good. How are you?
Good. I know you had an addition to the family, so congratulations. Your first one, I understand.
Actually, second.
Second.
Yeah. Do I look as tired as I feel?
You look like me and Tony Finn. It gets to be this time of the day, and you start to wear down just a little bit. But certainly congratulations on that. Glad to have you back on the show here.
Yeah. Thanks.
I had a first yesterday. Actually, it was a second, but I did one of the final round contests and actually came in second.
Okay.
So that was kind of thrilling. If you watched yesterday's, you don't have to watch yesterday's show, but I'm kind of like looking at my monitors like this, like for the last half hour of the show while Tony Finn is going off. I'm like this, like, oh my God, I cannot believe he just took the lead.
You must have had Finau and Cam Smith, I'm assuming, in the lineup.
I did, and everybody hated Cam Smith because he shot the 60, but as you would know, back-to-back days, Yeah, he probably shoots real hard to shoot anything under 68 probably.
Sure.
Because that's the way golf is. But he had the day off, and I think that made all the difference in the world for him.
True.
Shame that he lost like that. But here was the lineup. Now DraftKings is giving me all these exploding trophies. I was 289.95 points. I won by 0.75 over third place.
Nice.
But the lineup was Tony Mejia, Tringali, who I liked right from the start. I had him in all my tournament ones. Cam Smith, Keegan Bradley, Hogue, and Corey Connors. So, with the exception of Hogue, I mean, it's kind of like the same fraternity of players that I've been using for the last 6 months.
Yeah,
and it just came together. But I have to admit, it was pretty damn exciting.
Was it just round 4 scoring, correct?
Yeah. So
what did Tringali shoot in that final round? I didn't even see.
Let's see here. He ended up minus 10. It actually went over.
Okay.
So he was my dog for the day.
Okay.
He scored 30 points. Connors 39. Obviously, Finau 72. Cam Smith 57. Bradley 44. Hogue 46.
Very solid.
Yeah, I was pleased, and and I do give you credit because we do these shows, and I get more information from guys like you. And I had 4 of my 5 tournament ones cashed. Nothing big. It was like, when you're 2,800, it actually is, I guess it was about $150 for that particular unit or that lineup. But I plug all this information that I get into the machine learning models, and you and David Behrman are definitely helping making it smarter. You can see where I start these shows with you and him, and the results have been better and better and better. So I hope everybody listens to that and tails these guys, I'm just psyched you're back on the show, and I'm psyched that we have college football. I'm psyched that there's soccer going on. I'm just psyched.
Yeah, it's a very busy time of year in sports world. Love it. Next couple months.
So in golf, we have a quick turnaround here because of the hurricane that went up the East Coast. Monday was the final round, which was yesterday. And now we go to the BMW Championship. And these guys have to, we think they're resting today. You would probably have more insight on that than anybody. I don't know what a trip to the range would do for these guys. It'd be more important for Finau just to take the day off, maybe have a couple of drinks and a nice big steak, and then use tomorrow to get fully prepared.
Yeah, especially for Finau. He's been chasing this win for a while.
He has. And I love the interviews with, what's her name? She does all the interviews at the end of the round. Well, I can't remember her name. But anyway, she does it in a really classy way that, it's not like, boy, it took you this long to win, Tony. It's got to be like the monkey off your back, right? and like it's the opposite. Like, how does it feel? You earned it. You tracked down the world's #1 on the back 9, and I don't care what course it was. That is an accomplishment. That was a hell of a win.
Yes, it was. Tough field, good win. He showed up. He came from behind too, which is
Yeah, because there was one point in that final round. It looked like Rob was going to run away with it. He looked completely in control, especially emotionally. Mm-hmm. The game seemed effortless for the 4th straight day, and then suddenly he gets to 15. And it changed, and that's the beauty of golf. And I'll say I think that's why guys like you and I like it so much. Is that just as soon as you think, even at the greatest levels, the world's #1, just as soon as you think that I got this figured out.
Oh yeah,
the golfing gods just hit you over the head.
It unravels quickly.
It does. It only takes one shot. It truly does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in his case, I think it did, and I don't think he really recovered from 15, obviously, but he hung in there. He got on the 18th tee with a chance But unfortunately, the ball took a bad bounce into the bunker, and, and that was pretty much it.
Yep.
But what a year for the PGA Tour. There's been so many storylines and exciting finishes, exciting events. I mean, it's just like I just don't want it to end. But I guess it does in 2 weeks.
2 more tournaments and it's over. But don't worry, it's not over long, right? It's a quick turnaround in the next season. So.
Yeah, they're the one sport where they don't have contracts and they don't get paid when they're injured. And
right.
Not putting the other sports down, but it forces some players to play through injuries that they probably shouldn't. And that's the other beauty of the game too. You get paid when you play, and not only that, you have to make the cut.
Yeah.
So if you compare to a basketball game, if you can't make a free throw, the analogy would be that you don't get paid for that game.
Correct.
Not mentioning any names. But
I can't make a free throw.
I think people know who I'm talking about, but that's all right. So now we're going to start on Thursday here, and this is the BMW Championship and the Caves Valley Golf Club in Owens Mills, Maryland. I believe, is that where this is? No.
Yeah, that's correct.
That is correct, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, I'm even behind now with the event. I actually didn't know it was Owens Mills, Maryland. I knew it was Maryland, but I didn't recognize the name.
Yeah, just outside of Baltimore.
Yeah, and we're now down to 70 players, and these 70 now have to play to earn the right to go to Atlanta and be in the top 30. And Phil Mickelson will make this just a touch better event because he was the 70th player to get in.
Yep.
So I was kind of happy to see that because he's had an unbelievable year. So how do you see this event with all these big names now? There really aren't any names that we don't recognize on this list of 70. There are 70 top golfers in the world based on the world golf rankings. So it's going to be a little bit tougher to get those top 10s and top 20s, I would think.
Yeah, the prices are certainly going to be a lot shorter on leaderboard finishes this week. But you can still find some decent value on some outright guys that are playing pretty well. You're not going to get a lot of 50s and 60s and 70 to 1s that you normally would see at some of these guys about mid-tier. They're more in the 30 to 40 to 1 range. But short field, 4 rounds guaranteed. I think there's still decent value in the setup of this week. So the one thing I'm trying to figure out and understand if it's even something to really consider this week is, you mentioned golf being such a nuance of a sport, and one shot, right, can throw your round off. But these guys got on a schedule with Liberty National playing on Monday, and I wonder, is there any sort of advantage for somebody that maybe missed the cut last week and was out of there after Friday and didn't have to deal with hanging around an extra day and, the mental fatigue that wears on at least the guys near the top, maybe not so much down the bottom. They were just showing up to get paid a little bit, but maybe it's nothing. But part of me believes that there's some sort of advantage here to some of the guys that either missed the cut or a guy like Oosthuizen who didn't play at all, that comes in here fresh, that perhaps, at least when you're looking at some matchups and looking at some outright prices, there's something to consider there. But I'm not going to just go purely with that angle. That would be foolish, I think. But it is something I am considering, and I'm trying to just really understand if it's something I really want to go strong with or not.
Yeah, that was the name that came to mind was Oosthuizen with taking the week off.
Mm-hmm.
He's a hell of a weatherman, I guess.
Yeah,
but with the Olympics involved and the travel, they're going continent to continent. A lot of these guys, and it had to take its toll on Louis, and that's obviously why he more than likely didn't play.
Yep. Agreed. And listen, it's not like, he was 8th coming in. He's now 11th after the week. So it's not like he needed it to make the Tour Championship next week. But at the same time, he was really the only name that was up there that wasn't playing. So interesting to see, but we'll see how it works out for him this week. I think his price, speaking of him, is a little shorter this week because golf is such a what have you done for me lately? What did you do last week type of sport, at least, when you're looking at most public or novice bettors out there. He wasn't a name anybody said all week long, right? Because he didn't play. He's at 28-1, which in this small of a field and for a guy that has been as good as he has been for the last several months, I'm actually a little surprised to not see him closer to, 15-1, 16-1, 17-1 in that neighborhood. So I jumped on him at 28-1. That was on Bet365. They were offering that price. I see him, in the low 20s, 22, 23 at other places. But I was able to grab 28-1. But, I don't know to speak about how well he's been playing, but since April, he's finished inside the top 20 in all 8 PGA Tour events, and 6 of those inside the top 10. 4 of them runner-ups. So talk about a guy that's, I guess you can never say anybody's due for a win. Finau was, of course, that guy finally due for a win and got it. Usti has been knocking on the door for several months now, and maybe that factor. He didn't play last week. He didn't go through all the stress of the extra day, and doesn't have the short turnaround. Perhaps that's that little edge that could get him over to the finish line this week. But all his numbers are just fantastic for the last 3 months, 6 months. So I liked him at his price this week, Louis.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that too. I think Cam Smith just keeps rolling. He unfortunately had that horrible tee shot at the wrong time.
Yeah.
In the playoff, but that that kind of that's, I hate it when people say that he choked. He didn't choke. That's golf. I mean, you're a fraction off, and that's what happens.
Yep.
And it was Tony Finau's time to win, and that's how the golfing gods saw it. But I think his I was watching him on the course yesterday. Obviously, I'm watching on TV, but his composure was amazing because the betting world at least didn't give him much of a chance, very little chance to even come in where he did in the final second place finish. Maybe below top 10 is what the betting public was saying.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons I liked the young man. Well, he's not really that young, but he's
I'm sorry, I was going to say he's a guy that when he's hot, ride him. I mean, earlier this year he had around the Masters and a little bit before, a little bit after that, I was backing him a lot. He was he was finished inside the top 20 in 6 of 7 events around and near the Masters, and 4 of those were inside the top 10, including he had that partner win at the Zurich with Leishman. Then he kind of fell off after that, missed a couple cuts, couple finishes, tied for 59th, couple in the 30s, and then the last 3 events he started with a tie for 10th at the Olympics, and then 5th at FedEx, and then of course 2nd last week. So it's like he's turned that corner again. He's gotten red hot. So I agree. I like him. He's just ride the wave with Cam Smith. So I think he'll be able to come out firing again this week. It's tough sometimes coming off a playoff loss like that and a short turnaround. That's the one concern I have. Will there be a letdown for him? So that's the only question. But he is playing as well as anybody other than probably Rom right now. He's playing very, very well.
I think, and maybe I'm just kind of cheering for him, but I do believe though that this 3-week event makes it less likely that he's going to have a letdown because, all right, I lost the tournament, and that really stinks, and I didn't get nearly the money that I could have if I would have won it. But now we're on to the second week of this thing, and my goal is Atlanta and that $25 million check.
Yep. So,
obviously, and you know this better than anyone, that when they're on the course, they're not thinking about cashing a check. If they did, they would play worse than I do.
True.
The focus is so high, and I just saw Cameron Smith here is 16th shots gained total, 1.299. And do you think that bodes well for this type of course? Because it looks like the greens here, it's a Tom Fazio designed course. Greens seem to be pretty small, averaging about 5,000 square feet compared to some of the other ones that have been on tour. And I guess, if anything, Cam's one Achilles heel, I guess, has been times where the putter just abandons him. But you can say that about a lot of the tour guys, too. It doesn't mean he's a horrible putter. But I would think
Morikawa's an awful putter by statistical standards, too. Are you going to, obviously he's proven it doesn't really matter. You win 5 times, including a couple majors. All you need is it to get, halfway hot one week. If you're hitting the ball that well, like Cam Smith does, especially on smaller greens, I think it kind of negates a bad putter in the fact that, you're on the green, you're less likely. And the fact that this is a brand new course for everybody, the advantage of having somebody really know the greens well goes away. So I think this week, small greens and nobody knows them, I think it really levels the playing field as far as putting goes. Throw the bad putters out, the stats of bad putting out the window, because I don't think it hurts them too much this week.
Yeah, I agree. We got some people in the chat room following along here with the golf. Tony, Finn, and they tease me about the golf. It's not they want to talk baseball and football, but us sophisticated guys talk about everything, not just one sport. But you would have died yesterday, Nick. And I don't know how we segued ourselves into it, but I asked both of them. I said, "What do you think the tour percentage is for putts made 5 feet and less? What do you think it is for 5 to 10 feet? And what do you think it is for over 30?
Last time I looked, it was the number I was remember was between 6 and 10 feet was 50%.
53. Yeah, for this year. So that's actually
that's
correct.
The long-term average too, 50%. And I always use that when I used to teach, a lot of clinics to beginners, and that was one thing they thought they could make every putter on that field. I'm like, listen, the best in the world make this 50% of the time, and all of a sudden their eyes would, open wide. Like, what? Does it make any 50%? Sense? Yeah, exactly. But it's it's
true.
It's a hard range to make it from.
And then inside 5, which it's kind of a weird stat. Tony Finn. Brought that out. It could be a 1 footer, it could be a 6 incher, it could be 5 feet.
Sure.
But that's 83%, which is kind of what you would think. But a lot of amateurs would say probably 95%.
Correct. You'd guess a lot higher. Yes.
Yep.
Agreed.
And on this one, I think they would guess the most high is the putts over 30 feet. And these are birdie attempts.
Okay.
Birdie or eagle attempts. Green and regulation putting.
It's got to be 8%.
0.33.
What?
Yep.
No,
putts over 30 feet.
3.3%. Can't be 0.33%.
0.33.
Somebody's got a wrong decimal there, right?
No. It's just this 1 year, but
okay.
I thought it was incredibly low too.
That is incredibly low. You're saying 1 out of every 300? That doesn't seem right. Is that math right?
It's putts over 35 feet.
Okay.
Here, I'll pull it up on the.
Okay.
I guess
there's probably a lot of 50 footers in there too. So yeah, of course they're not making those.
Yeah, and that drags it way down.
Sure.
But a little misleading on that, because you're right. There's when guys are in that hunt and they're in the zone, a 30 footer to them can look like a 10 footer.
Yeah. Agreed.
So. Boy, I can't wait for this thing to start. It's going to start sooner rather than later.
Yeah, only two quick turnaround. We had the odds for one. Usually I'm working on this thing on Monday. I couldn't start working until today. So just scrambling to kind of get your notes down and get your thoughts for the week as you try one last day to prep for it. But I'm saying that as a guy trying to figure out what to bet on. And really the question is, how do the guys that are actually playing deal with it?
Right. It's gonna be tough. It's definitely going to be tough. The guys that are on the 30, the top 30 will make it. So Max Homa is actually the 30th ranked player right now. But the guys that are chasing, Tringali's another guy that I just kind of have a gut feeling he's going to be in Atlanta. Leishman certainly has the pedigree to do it. Any of those names that are, let's say, up to 50th, I guess, actually probably has a real chance to play well and actually get there. Like a Webb Simpson at 52. Talk about a guy that can get hot. If he gets hot, he'll probably be in Atlanta. But this course is pretty brutally long, too. It's 7,542 yards.
I'm looking at the list right now to kind of see who's on that outside that could play their way right in. Siwoo Kim's been playing pretty steady. Cam Davis, he had the win, so I think a lot of his points on the year are from the win. Other than that, if you have a win and you're not inside of it, that means you haven't been playing very consistent the whole year. Norin had a good week last week, probably propelled himself up quite a bit. Perhaps he could carry that over. Harmon, actually, he was a guy I was playing a lot this entire year. He's looks like about 440 points back right now. 100, yeah. He was playing great a lot, so he's close. He could be one that sneaks in there too. But I think on this list, Tringali is definitely a play. Keegan Bradley's a play. And then probably Harmon for me would be the other one of the guys that I think might play their way in.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with all three of those for sure. Now, Kisner's in 31st, as you probably see, and I'm not sure about him.
Yeah, again, another one. He got the win, so half his points are from that one tournament. Which of course, if you're going to win, the guys that are in there are guys that have won. But if you're down towards the bubble and you're still on there, and you got a win, that's telling me that you really haven't been that consistent all year long.
And then guys that would be shocking if they weren't in Atlanta, Rory McIlroy, who's 28th.
Yeah.
He just seems so close to lighting it up, and then it doesn't happen. It's almost like he's trying to light a blowtorch without a match. And Patrick Reed, talk about a guy who's flying under the radar. I mean, he's sitting right there at 26. Yep. Justin Johnson, 22. I mean, if he plays like he did this past week, he's not going to be in Atlanta either. And he's the defending champ.
Yeah. Yeah, very true.
But you have to love Stuart Sink. I mean, he's 19th.
Two wins, man.
Yeah. He's got to be the elder statesman of this group.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
And he's still long. He still hits it long, so the course won't hurt him this week. He still ranks up there in the top, I don't know, I forget now, top 20 or so in distance, so he's surprising. One guy that I think is who's been really red hot recently, who's not getting much respect as far as odds goes this week, is Kevin Na. He's 65-1 right now. He's got 4 straight top 25s. 3 of those are top 10s, including 2 runner-ups, including the playoff loss, when there was 7 guys 2 weeks ago. Over that time period, he ranks 4th in total strokes gained, plus 2.2 per round. He's only behind Rahm, Oosthuizen, and last week's runner-up Cam Smith. So pretty good company there. He's at 65-1. He's pretty mediocre when you look at the stats for the season, but his short game, he's number 1 on tour, scrambling and shots gained around the green. So, and again, when he's hot and he's hitting the ball well, and he's not making bogeys, as he doesn't do that at all, but he's actually making some birdies, which he is. 65-1 seems like a great price on a guy that's that hot.
Yeah, I like that. I like that pick quite a bit. That's probably going to be one of my lineups.
Definitely, I think a good fantasy play this week.
Yeah, he can't be very much.
No, I agree. At 65-1, he's going to be a cheaper price for sure.
Yep. Do you, on your Bet365 page, do they have the odds to win the Cup? There's one name that I have kind of adopted him as a son. And I would love to see him pull it off. But it's Patrick Cantlay.
Oh, yeah. I like Cantlay this week.
And it's just a gut feel. I haven't looked at his analytics here for this week, but
the
models aren't always right either,
I have him. I didn't take him on an outright market. I did take him in a matchup over DeChambeau. He ranks 3rd in strokes gained over the last 3 months, plus 2.18 per round. Tied for 11th last week. He had the miscut at the Open, but otherwise he's been inside the top 25 in 6 of his last 7 starts. So he's been pretty consistent. And of course, he has the win at the Memorial earlier this year. Actually, he's got 2 wins. He won something else earlier in the fall, or maybe it was in February or whatever. But anyway, I like Cantlay. He's coming off a good week. He's been steady. DeChambeau, as far as the matchup goes, has been just – he hasn't been playing terribly. He's not missing cuts necessarily, but he's just not in contention. He's tied for 31st last week at the Northern Trust. Seems about where he's been for the last almost 8 weeks now, 6-8 weeks. Hasn't had a top 10 and actually, I'm sorry, he just got the top 10 at the FedEx, but before that he had 7 straight events without a top 10. So for a guy that's, one of the betting favorites week in and week out, he wasn't living up to the name. So anyway, even pick and price on Cantlay over DeChambeau I thought was pretty good. So I did take Cantlay that one.
Yeah, I like that matchup too, for sure. You want to share one more matchup with us, and then I'll I'll let you go because I don't know if Tony, Finn, and Rob are actually joining me today because they have a college football show. One of them's doing a show in Kansas City.
Okay.
And I think
Rob's
is WagerTalk.
Football season.
It is.
Yeah. I'll throw one more out there before I gotta go pick up the first kid from daycare. This one you might not like because it's actually a play against Cam Smith. It's taking Hovland over Cam Smith. And again, I'm a little nervous here. I don't think Cam Smith's going to come out here and be at the bottom of the list by any means, but I just don't think we'll see him necessarily in contention on Sunday. Somewhere in the 25, 30 type of range seems about right for Smith this week. But, short turnaround, let down from that playoff loss versus Hovland, who was tied for sixth heading into Sunday and shot 77 on Sunday. And golf is just one of those sports where, things like that, these guys let it go quick and they'll turn around real quick. And I kind of like the idea of a bounce back for Hovland, coming in here motivated to get back after, having a chance to cash in on a win last week and then shooting 77. He doesn't shoot 77 very often. So I like him to rebound. I like him maybe to struggle a little bit out of the gate, especially because of the short turnaround. Maybe he gets it going and catches fire over the next couple of days. But Hovland over Cam Smith is another pick-em price that I think is pretty decent this week.
Yeah, I like that too. And he's playing at a very high level for. Mm-hmm. He's had a lot of starts too. Not
Sungjae Im a lot, but still a decent amount.
Yep. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Every week.
Hey, guys, he's the Charles Howe, the modern day Charles Howe III.
33 events this year, and then I'm looking at guys like Rahm, Cam Smith, Cantley, Thomas, Morikawa. They're all 20, 22, 21, 23. He's got 33, Sungjae.
And a bunch of whips.
The Iron Man, yeah, right.
Well, I mean, it points out that the casual observer doesn't realize how tough it is to play 4 days in a row at this kind of level, and then a couple of days off for travel in a jet usually, and then you're doing it all over again.
The best in the world know it, and they play 2 out of 4. If there's 4 events every month, they play 2 of them. That's pretty typical for these guys. And then you get into the playoffs, obviously they're playing 3 straight in a row. But that's pretty typical for these guys. And Sungjae plays 3, if not 4.
I guess he would play 2 at the same time if he was allowed.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, this has been good here. I don't have any notes from Rob or Tony Finn, but that's all right. We don't have to have a show that runs till 6:00.
Yeah.
But for those guys in the chat room, there's one of my my buddies, one of my personal bowling pals is in the chat room. That's awesome. If it's really him, it's the same name. Chris Urban's in the chat room, so that's pretty cool. You're checking this out. And James McGinnis is here every single day. And it's the same old names, but the names are piling on and getting more and more.
Love it.
So the free pick I'm going to give for the show is the Phillies. And they're batting terrible, Nick, terrible. They're batting 187 over their last 7 games, 240-something for on-base percentage. It's just not good. And they're playing Tampa Bay Rays, which are leading the American League East, but are being literally hunted down by the Yankees.
Yeah.
Yankees winner of 10 games. First time since 1901 that 2 teams that on 9-game win streaks faced each other. And that was the Braves and the Yankees last night.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. We've had a lot of firsts. 8 no-hitters, technically 9 if you count Bumgarner's 7-inning gem.
Oh, right.
But that doesn't count. But the last time that happened was 1884, and in that year, there was a rules change that allowed pitchers to throw overhand.
They were throwing underhand?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said too when I read this.
What were they kicking it? What were they doing?
I don't know. Maybe they had the bottle of whiskey in their hand, put that down, and then just kind of tossed the ball in there. But over the years we've learned that Cy Young was not throwing 95 miles an hour. He's throwing more like 78 to 82. But it's not putting it down. That's the evolution of the sport. Baseball was not made as good as it is today. The grip was not as good.
Guys weren't hitting at 325 off the tee either.
That's right. But if there was a guy that could do it, I could name several, starting with Jack Nicklaus, Arnie. I mean, if they had this kind of equipment.
Sure. And the ball alone.
Yep. So we'll go with the Phillies to bounce back tonight. And that's one of my 4-unit plays. Last note here. Dr. Chuck is the $2 man at sportsmemo.com. He's on fire in baseball. He's the only guy on the planet that's better than me right now in baseball. I can't believe I just said that. See, Joe D'Amico is rubbing off on me. I'm actually able to promote myself. But seriously, he's really a good guy to get. At $2, you're probably going to get a couple plays from him. He's more of a volume type guy, but he wins, and that's all that matters. And it's $2. And then on WagerTalk, one of the new members, Jimmy Adams, is the $2 man over there. So it's another guy that knows baseball inside and out and has a really good play tonight as well. Do you have any? I know you're busy with the family. Do you have anything going on at WagerTalk?
Yeah, I have a 5% play in soccer. The final Champions League qualifying games are tomorrow, and I have a 5% play going in that. 18-5 right now, 5% play since May. So hoping to continue that run into tomorrow on Wednesday. So that's up on my page right now.
And by the way, the 5% play is our highest rated play. That's, we don't believe in hype. That others would say that's a game of the year or at least game of the month. But a 5% is 5% of a bankroll. And that's a serious play, as is a 4%, as is a 3%. And those are the 3 types of plays that we give out. So make sure you get that too, because I can tell you in golf, Mr. Borman here is 9 for 9 on the show with your matchup and your top 10s and top 20s in terms of profitability.
Let's get another one this week.
You got it, man. Appreciate your time, Nick, and congratulations to the family once again. So on behalf of Nick, myself, sportsmemo.com, wagertalk.com, and the Predictive Playbook, may all the wins be yours.